So I believe we got a three-way rotation right now. Avery Cleveland looks good, and Corbin Whitcomb looks good, and Parker Stevens looks good. Now, when I say that, they all have their own unique styles that they bring to that position. So if we started today, I would probably rotate all three of them. I think Avery might become the front runner. He's had experience from last year's JV quarterback, but I still think it's wide open. And one of the things I don't want to have happen is to have a rotation throughout the entire game. I would like to be more consistent with that spot, but if that's what happens with the season, then that's what happens. Well, Corbin, I'll start with him. He was a running back last year, so he has the ability to run, and I like that aspect of him. We've got some quarterback plays for him. Parker Stevens is a sophomore quarterback, and he's got an arm on him. It's not like he's throwing deep balls, but his accuracy is there a little bit with the deep ball, and then when the intermediate passes, he's all right. But he too can run. And then Avery has the ability to, I think, stand in the pocket a little bit better than the other two, and then make some plays. But you look at that and say, okay, I can tailor my offense to all three strengths, and then we can run with them. And we even have the option to go like a little Trojan cat or whatever we want to call it, where we could bring John Scholl in at quarterback, or we could even bring Brandon Wetzel in. Last year we had Jake Stevens at center, and this year Rodrigo Garcia is going to step in. So he's got some shoes to fill. One of the things that Jake did well last year was get the ball back to quarterback, and we didn't have any problems there. So that's going to be something that Rodrigo's going to really have to make sure he fine-tunes. But at the guard positions, we got Tyler Good and Dale Harker. Both return. Both had somewhere between 9 to 10 starts last year. And then you have on the edges, you've got K'Ron Smith, and then you got Luke Pappas. And those guys are a nice core group. They've been playing since their sophomore year. K'Ron is freshman year. So they've got about 12, 13 starts on them. The seniors have about 9 to 10 starts on them. And so I think, there's the kids that can play there. But I really like the competition behind them. I like the kids that are nipping right at the heels, and I think there's going to be some kids that could push into the starting lineup. And one of the things that I've told those upperclassmen and those starters from the past is, please don't assume that you're starting because you started the past 2 years or just last year. I said I want competition, and whoever's the best kid, that kid will start. Well, I think for a quarterback, I think it gives you confidence. I think if they can protect him and not let him get touched early on in the season, whomever it is, I think you got a good shot of building a lot of confidence in that quarterback. And those kids should be able to do that at the O-line. It's not like we're putting rookies there. And so even at the two deep, those kids played. Some kids played last year, some kids played JV last year, but they still played. So I like that up front unit. I think that's going to be our team's bread and butter. We will go as far as they go, and I know it's like a cliche, but this O-line is truly going to be responsible for our success. And all right, so at tight end right now would be Brecken Stewart. He's probably the sole number one. He's developed from even last year. He's a better route runner. He reads the defense, figures out coverages, and figures out where the soft spots are. He's doing that really well right now. And then the number 2 spot, I don't know. It's kind of up in the air. Jacob Carpenter brings something to the game. He's gotten stronger throughout the season, preseason. He's 6'4" about. He's got hands. He's got a little demeanor to him, so I know he can play that spot. Then you got Colin Sheehan, and he has a different other aspect to the game. He could be more of a blocking tight end for us. In that sense. So when we go 2 tight ends, he can come in and be the blocker. And then Brian Jordan, who's a junior as well, he's got ability to catch the ball, but we're 4 deep at that tight end. And so when you look at that, you go, okay, I can run some heavy unbalanced sets sometimes down the red zone, and we can make some things happen. But the biggest thing for all my tight ends is they got to be able to block. Because we're going to use them in the run game to support our pass game. So they got to be able to do that. So the first guy that really shows that he can do both, he'll get the nod. At receivers, we return Brandon Wetzel. We return John Scholl, Tyrone Washington, who played a little bit last year as a sophomore. And when those guys, then we have Michael Shesky as well, who got in a little bit. And so we've got a core group of guys right there. I like that. There's some speed there. All those kids, well, all but Brandon ran, and well, Tyrone didn't either, but those two, John and Shesky, ran track, and were on some relay teams and did some nice things this last year in track. So we've got some team speed. If we can get the ball out to them, and we've been talking about as a team and just individual goals, that you got to make the first guy miss. And if I throw you a hitch, bubble, if I throw you a slant, you've got to make one miss and then take it. So, I think our team speed is faster at this position than it was, much quicker, I should say, than last year. So we have playmakers that we can get the ball to. There are a couple juniors that are coming up, and we'll see who gets the shot, but we're like 8 deep at that spot. So, that's not a bad thing, but ultimately, we can put 4 or 5 on the field at one time. So we'll have to see from there. My first expectation, and I sat down with him probably in November last year after the season was over, and I told him he had to play in all games. And that was the healthy piece is the most important thing to me. Like playing 1 through 5 and then being out 6 through 8, we can't have that. So one of the things we got to do is we got to be able to sustain the entire year. And I think his work ethic and what he's done to help himself this year in the weight room, he's just flat out, he's really good. His cuts, his ability to get away and maneuver on defenses. We haven't had a back like that since Alexander. And I really like what he has the opportunity to do, but he's got to stay healthy. Behind there, though, we have Trey Fuller, a junior. Cole Meek is a junior. Those 2 guys could see time right away. Alex, speaking of that, Alex could probably maybe get 20 to 25 carries a game. But early on in the season, when we get up on teams, it's not going to be, let me give him the ball, I'll grind it out with another running back. But I think Trey could do the job. I think Cole could do the job. Those 2 are both different. They're both different sizes and kind of different attributes they bring. And then you have a couple of the younger ones, and Tanner Landino, off the freshman team last year. He could give a shot. And then there's Max Ultimus, who also could play. So we've got a variety of those kids. And let's just say Avery gets the nod. Corbin could also play at the running back. So we could do some kind of combination there. So we've got a pretty good plethora of tailbacks. But, Alex is going to be the primary. But again, I need him healthy for the entire season.